In a world searching for gaming knowledge comes the man, the myth, a legend in his own mind, Critical.
Welcome back, guys and gals. Critical here. And as you can see, I'm having a problem. I will get this fixed in just a second. Boy, I'm not having a good day. Alright, let me check something. Okay, here we go. Sorry about that. Well, the over-exaggerated claims that I had passed away are definitely debunked. I'm still here. But I've definitely been sick. There's been a flu bug going around my area. And oh my god, it's like a 7-day flu bug, and I'm still not over it. But I'm going stir crazy. I want to try to do a stream. You can probably hear it in my voice. My throat's real scratchy. I'm definitely not doing well, but I'm here. I'm going to try to do something. So what I wanted to do today is I wanted to do a Grim Dawn run, but I want to start a Druid. Now this is a tune that I'm going to intend to do a full Let's Play, but I want to start it out on a stream. And there's a couple other things that I want to talk about.
Still drawing breath. He's
having to do with Grim Dawn. Now, I was watching a stream last night, and I'll put a link to the individual's channel.
You're not looking too
down
bad
in the
for
description.
someone just come back from the brink of the bodies of the you will need.
And he was new to Grim Dawn, and I was watching people talk to the guy, and it's like everybody in that chat was new to Grim Dawn. I didn't know there was that many people that actually hadn't played this game before. I thought I was coming so late to the game that the information that I have, which I consider to be basic information, everybody didn't already have. You know? So once I get to a point where I can actually show you skills and levels, I want to talk about, I'm not going to say the best way to start. I don't want to talk meta. I want to talk what you don't want to do. Meaning, play the game however you want to play the game. You want to play strictly a mage, I mean, concentrating on nothing but mage skills, go for it. It is possible. This game, the way they've designed it, you can have a hybrid build, which is very strong, and sometimes in some ways can be stronger than a static build or a solo class build, or you can go just a base class like, you know, Druid or Druid. That's what I'm going to be playing, which is a mixture of a mage and a... Boy. Sorry, guys. Like I told you, I'm really out of it. Not only is this junk messed up my ability to play games, I haven't played any video games for almost a week now. Well, not that long, but 5 days, easily. But it muddles my brain. So, like I said, a little off. Give me half a few. You know, I'll get it figured out eventually. Okay. Now that I've leveled, I can get to this. So, if you want to go a demonologist and just go full demonologist, go for it. But this game gives you the ability to mix two classes. And in Dungeons and Dragons, when you did a hybrid class, you were basically gimping yourself. Now, everybody else in your group might get up to, say, level 20, and you'd be level 10, sometimes 12, 14, but usually you were lagging behind about half. So I'd say maybe around 12 and maybe level 20. They would be so much more powerful but focused, and you'd be more general abilities but weaker. This game doesn't do that. Because if you go, let's say, I'm going to be going Arcanist, but let's talk Soldier. Let's say I wanted to go Soldier. If I started adding points to here and picking these items along this tree right here. And let's say I just started picking everything. And this is the first thing that I did. I started a rogue. Well, I would say a rogue, but they call it a Nightblade. And I started picking every ability because I didn't know. I wasn't reading the tooltips. I didn't understand what went together. And oh my God, it was horrible. So in the stream I was watching yesterday, a gentleman had come over to this game from Diablo. And he said he'd never played it before, and he was up to, him and his group, they got themselves up to like level 20 or something like that. And at level 20, he'd only gone about this, if I remember correctly, it's about this far. Yeah, about this far on the tree. And he had been pumping points into almost every ability here. So he was so spread out, and he was having a lot of problems. He was trying to be more of a tanky type character. And his damage was really low, and it was really causing him a lot of problems. And I'm not doing this to pick on him. What I want to do is show you, and for me, Soldier's the easiest one to show it. Actually, I'm going to show you Shaman. It's going to be one of the trees I'm going into. This one, it actually can be the easiest. So if you look at Brute Force, now you can read through the whole thing. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go to the part that's like a yellowish or a gold color. Requires two-handed melee weapon. So if you pump 10 points into this and you're doing sword and board, this is doing you no good whatsoever. Now, if you put 1 point into this so that you can move up to this side, requires a melee two-handed weapon, activates default weapon attacks, requires, okay, so this whole tree on this one is all two-handed weapons. Sometimes the first one is two-handed, the next one is one-handed or ranged. And to demonstrate that, look at that Nightblade. The first in dual blades, this is a melee dual blade bonus. Also enables the ability to dual wield melee weapons. This melee dual wielding technique activates off a default weapon attack. This one only affects a certain the shears and the quick cut and whirling death. So if you're not taking those, this one right here won't do you any good. I thought they had one that was arranged on this one. But okay, I was wrong. I'm not perfect at this game, I'll admit that. So back to the Shaman. So now let's look at your primary attack. So when you're trying to plan out a build, the circles are your like a buff. It enhances your abilities. Sometimes it's an active buff, sometimes it's a passive buff. This is a passive buff. It doesn't require anything. These are all passive buffs. I should say. I do apologize for that. This is a active buff, meaning that I have to cast it, and it takes mana to maintain it. And this is Guardian's Pack, and even right here it says the ability must be toggled to maintain its effect. This one doesn't say that, so it's just always in an effect. So the next thing you want to think about after you've looked at, okay, I'm going to be looking at these buffs, is what kind of attack are you going to be doing? Are you going to be a ranged character, a melee character? Are you going to go one-handed or two-handed? Now, dual wield, you're going to have to go into... I keep wanting to say Nightblade. I was right, Nightblade. For some reason, my brain was saying that wasn't right. You're going to have to go into Nightblade if you want to dual wield. But if you're going to go, okay, I want to be a two-handed melee character. And something to note here, ranged works with Primal Strike, which originally I didn't know that. I thought it was kind of cool. You know, I'm whacking people with a two-handed weapon, and then I picked up this rifle, and I was like, and I shot it, and my skill went off at a range. I was like, whoa, that's cool. I was still learning back then on this kind of stuff. So if I took Primal Strike and I was doing sword and board, every point I spent here is completely wasted. Now when you go to Thunderous Strike, Thunderous Strike is not a default weapon attack. Enhancers cannot trigger effects such as Feral Hunger. Feral Hunger requires a two-handed melee weapon activates off default weapon attacks only. So if I took Primal Strike and I'm like, I'm going to pump a ton of points into Feral Hunger because Feral Hunger makes Primal Strike really an awesome ability, and then I took a point into Thunderous Strike. So let's say I put one here, and then I put 1 point here so that I can get Thunderous Strike. Thinking, okay, I look at this. Let's see, 75 weapons damage. Okay, but the total modifier is negative 35%. I lose my stun, but it becomes a, if I remember correctly, it takes back the cooldown. So Primal Strike is a cooldown ability. You can only use it once every 3 seconds. It's a 3-second recharge. So it's like you're whacking with something else and then you hit them with Primal Strike. So left, bing, hard right. Primal Thunderous Strike gets that delay away, and now you can use it as your just active attack ability, just constantly attacking with that ability. But you're going to give up some stuff for it, and now Feral Hunger doesn't work. So if I did 1, 1, 1, and then I put like 12 points in the Feral Hunger, and I'm like, why stuff's not, I'm putting all these points into here, and I'm not getting any benefit because I'm missing the tooltip, what the tooltip's telling me. Now, Savagery, it builds up charges and increases the potency of bonuses. Now, basic Savagery will work on dual wield, it will work with dual wield. It'll work with one-handed, sword and board style, or one-handed, and or two-handed weapons. With Might of the Bear, this technique requires a two-handed weapon or melee or ranged. So, once again, if I took Savagery, and I thought, I really like how the skill works, and I was going a soldier, and I was doing sword and board, and I wanted to mix that with shaman to make a warder, and I took Savagery, and then I put points into Might of the Bear, well, I just, my primary attack, if I'm using Savagery as what I'm hitting everything constantly with, well, I just disarmed myself. I just completely taking, this doesn't affect me because this will affect, Might of the Bear will affect Savagery, and now I've disabled my ability to attack mobs. So that's what I wanted to show you guys to think about when you're planning your build. Now, I'm not going to get into Devotion. Devotion is really big and it'll take a lot more time. I just wanted to talk about the basics of trying to figure out your class. You want to pick an ability. Now, I'm going to go Arcanist, Mage, and Shaman to make a Druid. But I'm going to start an Arcanist tree. This is going to sound kind of, what are you talking about, dude? I'm not spending any points right here, right now. I'm just going to keep pumping my basic skills. Every time I put points here, I'm going to get Physique, Cunning, more Spirit, because that's the class I am. I'm a caster. Health and Energy. Every time I add points to my basic class, my mastery. And what I'm doing is I'm going to try to get up to the Flash Freeze. And that's going to be my basic attack. It's going to be my big attack. And once I've pumped enough points into it, especially in the beginning, I'll be clearing whole rooms with a single cast. And then it's a cooldown ability, and then it'll pop up. Give me a second, I'm going to blow my nose. All right. So I'm going to pump this, and I'll make that my primary attack. And then I'll keep getting up. I'm going to move up towards Trojan Sky Shards. I want it to be my primary DPS on this build. And then once I get high enough into Arcanist to feel secure, I'll start putting some points into my Shaman. And the main thing is I'm going to be doing in the Shaman on my Druid is to get the Pact, Heart of the Wild, and then Oak Skin. And that is to raise my survivability. It's going to give me the ability to take some hits and give me more health. basically it's going to help me survive, you know, because I'm a squishy mage. And then I'm also going to put some points into Wind Devil, Raging Tempest, and Maelstrom, because this is all electrical damage. And I'm going to be going ice and electricity, mainly electricity, in my Arcanist. Now, if I wanted a melee attack, I could take some, but I'm not going to be a melee. I'm going to be a caster. And some people would say, well, then in that case, why don't you go for Stormcaller's Pack, which is actually a really good ability, but it doesn't hit all the Qs that I need. It's not going to be my ultimate ability. I'm going to do that in my Arcanist. Sorry. And it's going to be Reckless Power, or excuse me, Star Pact, because that'll affect all my damage types that I'll be going for. Frost, electrocute, lightning, and some cold damage. And then physical damage converts to cold damage. Oh, I definitely want to bring that up. Now, and I am not picking on this too. You know, I'm not going to put the guy's thing in here. I don't think it's fair because I don't want to pick on him. If you see this, I'm not picking on you. But the poor guy, he had taken Force Wave. Okay, and I did the exact same thing. So I'm not poking fun. It's something that I did. Oh, no, take that. It was Cadence. And he really liked what Cadence was doing for him. And he pumped some points into Cadence, and he had points into Blade Arc and Force Wave as well. So he was like trying to do all the things in Soldier and try to, instead of concentrating on just one. Well, he had taken Cadence, and he put points into Discord. The problem with that is every point you put in here, it converts physical damage converted into elemental damage. And he was a physical damage character, and he didn't have like a super awesome weapon that was like 100%, you know, it boosts 1,000% elemental damage or something like that, which would be, you know, broken in my opinion. So that would make sense. But if you're not pumping out high elemental damage, your main damage type is physical, you want to stay physical on the damage. So that's how he was hurting himself. And I was like, no, I didn't sit there and laugh or anything. I was like, hey, dude, try this. I'm not going to backseat game you. I'm just going to make a couple suggestions. This isn't meta. Consider your build. Take some of these points away. Boost up so that you can get a final ability, something that'll help you out. Either, you know, maybe the Bulwark for defense, since that's a shield. But if you don't want to do a shield, then I'd go with Rage. Pick a damage type that you want to do, sword and board, dual wield, take that skill and then pump points into that skill all the way up toward the final one, because this will boost. And the thing I didn't get into, because like I said, I didn't want a backseat game for the guy, is make sure that you read the tooltips. Because just because this is the skill I'm going to go, say I wanted to go full Cadence, and Fighting Form, I liked it. It doesn't mean I have to put all my points in a Fighting Form. I can put 1 point in Fighting Form so I can get to Deadly Momentum, because Deadly Momentum really fits my attack style of how I want to play better. So I'll put my points into here and only put 1 point into Fighting Form just to unlock this one. So I just wanted to go over that because I was like, and I saw a couple of people talking about it. They just picked up the game and they'd ruined their character, had to start over again. That's the one thing about this game that they don't have, is a way to, though I think it should be expensive, the way to be able to buy back your masteries. Because if you don't know what you're doing, and give me a sec. If you don't know what you're doing and you jump in and you start picking your masteries and applying your points, you can find yourself really hurting when it comes to your how am I going to get this character to keep moving? You know, how am I going to progress this character when I'm not doing enough damage? I can't kill any mobs. I'm not surviving when I face bosses. It's going to burn you out of the game and you're going to give up. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pump all the way up to Flash Freeze. That means my next level or two is going to be more difficult, because I'm not going to have... I have no abilities. Now, I've gotten some stats, but I don't have an attack. I don't have a spell to do more damage. So I'm just going to be in here as a mage character beating the mobs with basically a cudgel. Yeah, not efficient in any way, shape, or form. Now, that's for a level or two, but once I get to the ability that I want to start the game with, oh, you'll see it go, oh my, yeah, okay, now I see what he's talking about. But until then, you're gonna think I'm a complete idiot, which partially I think you're right, but don't tell anybody. I won't if you don't. Now I do want to I want to go as long as I can, probably an hour tonight. I don't think I'd be able to go for much more than that. And if my throat starts hurting too much, I'll probably have to call it, because if I don't sound good enough, or if I'm constantly clearing my throat, blowing my nose, coughing and hacking, nobody's got time for that, and you don't want to hear a sick guy dying on the other end. I don't want you to hear that either, so I definitely have to get off in that case. Now, when I get sick, I do it right, and trust me, oh, I did it right this time, unfortunately. But I don't get sick too often, so hopefully this won't happen anymore this season. It's usually the changing of the seasons that I usually get sick at. So I think in the next day or two I should get back to my regular doing videos and some streaming a couple times a week. I sure hope so, because Wolves of Midgard is supposed to be coming out this week, and I intend to play that game. I want to stream that the very first day that it's out and start making videos on it right away. Now, I'm sorry I wasn't able to get an early copy of it so I could get a couple videos in the tank, or show you any of the game early. I did contact the developers, and I've got an email back, which I was rather surprised on that part of it, but they didn't provide me early access to the game. Now, I didn't ask for a free copy of the game. I'd already bought it, but I asked if they could give me the ability to access the game, and they didn't respond yes or no to that. They just told me it was fine if I wanted to make videos, and was kind enough to tell me I could even monetize them if I wanted to, so that was nice. All right, let's pump a few more points. I want to be careful, because I only did 2. Now I get the ability, the Flash Freeze, Elixir's Flash Freeze. This is an AoE ability, and it'll freeze mobs and does damage. Now, I've only gotten a single point in it, so it's not going to be doing a ton of damage, unfortunately. And that's the ability. And it's a timed ability, so it's something I'll have to use, run around, hit stuff, and then cast it again if the mobs are too strong. But once I've pumped enough points into it, I'll be killing stuff left and right with it. See, I only did 12 points of damage to him, but I stopped him, he couldn't hit me, and then I can walk him and smack him with my big sword. Get in the middle of these guys. So now I'm able to control the battlefield a little more. Once I get the ability completely buffed up, or at least 8 points I like to put into my initial ability that I'll be using, I'll be doing enough damage that I can clear an entire room. Now, this ability is kind of cool. The more points you put into it, the more damage it does, but also the bigger area that it hits. And once you pump enough points into it, literally you can hit an entire room, a large room, the entire screen, actually, and kill everything in that room. And this, if you wanted to, I don't know if I'd enjoy playing that type of a build as much. You could actually do this as the primary ability for a build. You could build an entire character around this, but if I was going to do a primary ability that was that much magical, I would definitely be going Nightblade and Arcanist, which I believe is called a Spellbreaker, but don't quote me on that. Yep, it's definitely Spellbreaker. I remembered it. Like I said, I'm muddled. Give me a break, please. Okay, steel helmet. I think I put that right on, didn't I? No, I can't wear it yet. Get the free experience. Be stupid if I don't. Sorry about that. Also, sorry for messing up the intro to the stream. I'm still getting used to what I have set up. It is a manual process that I do, and being a little bit under the weather, I misclicked and I wasn't really ready to stream. Just one of those days. I'm sure we all have them, so you know where I'm coming from. Now I've been growl and just kind of stand there. Okay, I'm good with that. Now, since I'm using a cold ability right now, I'm going to go ahead and switch to this hatchet, because the hatchet has a built-in cold attack, and it gives me additional cold damage just by equipping it. Even though I might not be hitting with it, I'm still getting additional cold damage. That'll buff my primary skill for right now. I don't know if that was the axe smacking him that did the 36 points, or that cold damage just buff it that much. That'd be nice if it did. It only did 11, but the axe does even more damage, so. Now, if I can get around, that's nice, because if I can get to the top over here and get to the mobs in this room and level up before I face the boss, the minor boss in this area, I'll be much better off, because I'll be doing a lot more damage to him. It won't take nearly as long to beat him. I'm also going to buff my gear, even though it's really cheap gear. I'm just going to be putting a single item into it, just because I can show that. Because the first time I play this, I'm going to stop picking on that streamer. I'm not picking on him. I'm just going to stop saying what I saw. The first time I played, I didn't understand what the buff items were. Now, a lot of times you'll like, well, Critical, I watched you stream this or play this, and I didn't see you buffing your stuff. Normally, I won't buff my gear. I won't put components into my gear until I get some nice stuff. I don't want to waste, a good solid component. But, if I'm just using a cheap, something that drops all the time, if I can. Hold on a second. This plating right here, it can be used in any armor, and it gives +5 armor. If I add this to an item, let's make sure I have the energy regeneration. I'll take the energy regeneration. I am a caster, and I'll be needing that here soon enough. So if I put this, it's a partial component, 1 of 3. Now, if I right-click on it, and then click on this pair of gauntlets, are you sure you want to complete this combination? Yes. Now this pair of gauntlets has +5 armor. I can keep adding components to complete this partial component into a full component. So I can keep buffing it. I can apply these abilities out in the field. I don't have to go back down to town to get them. But if I want to get that component back, let's say I make a really nice final lightning component, and I put it into a weapon, this cheap two-handed lightning sword, let's say, and 10 minutes later I find this nice blue lightning weapon, and I want to get that component back. Once I've completed finding the scientists, and thank you for correcting me in the stream the other day when I said he was the mage, but basically he is the mage guy, let's be honest. If I find the scientist's apprentice and I get him back to town, he can actually modify this, and I can either get the item back or the component back, but I lose one or the other. So another good thing to know. Now, that didn't change too much, but it gave me a little bit more armor. Armor's a good thing. Alright, now I'll be activating the boss, and then some bosses will be affected by the freeze, some will not. Some mobs, and they can resist it too. Now, when those undead were originally getting up, they weren't affected by the freeze because they were still standing up. But once they were fully erect and walking around, they were affected by it. Now, he was pretty easy to beat, so it worked out pretty good. And he didn't drop anything great, but it was worth it. It was good stuff. Now, this is a ranged weapon with bleeding damage on it. Not so good for this character, but it's not the worst thing to have either. I liked having a two-handed style weapon in my offhand. The points, something I forgot to talk about, attributes. This is something you can't reset. Once you've put points into your attributes, you're done putting the points. So this is something you really have to plan for. You have to think about, what is this going to do for my damage type? I'm not saying don't put any points in the physique. If you want to wear heavy armor, the items that require higher physique, like the steel helm, it requires 95 physique. It's a steel helm. The cloth cap I'm wearing requires minimal or no physique, 28 physique, but it requires more spirit to wear that. The helm itself requires no spirit, no cunning, but it requires a large amount of physique. That physique I'll get from either buffs and or leveling and boosting my primary or secondary masteries. So I shouldn't waste points in physique. It's not going to buff my primary damage target, which is damage done from ranged and magical. Cunning can be helpful, but it affects mainly pierce damage, some physical, and bonus duration damage. That can help, the cunning, but it's not going to be really good for my character type. But, a little bit of it might be useful. And some gear that I want to equip might require me to put some points into it. For this character, basically I'm going to be a caster. Spirit is where it's at. That's where I'm going to put my points right into. I'm just going to go ahead and put 3 points right into spirit. My first 5 points are going to go all into spirit to build that pool, because I'm going to need a large pool. But once I get at least 5 points into it, I'll start saving a point here and there, so that if I get a really nice blue item, or even better, let's say a legendary drops for me or something, and it needs a little bit of physique that I don't have, I can pump a couple points into it to get just enough physique to get that item, so it's not a waste. Personal rift, I wasn't meaning to open that up, but that's fine. I can deal with that. Now, I've got 3 more points, and I know I keep saying, build this up. I'm not going to build up my primary mastery until I've got this to about 6 or 8. Usually for me, it's 8. So I'll put 3 right into it. Now I'm up to 4. If I undo the points, watch the radius. It should go up, it's at a 5 meter radius, 6, 7, 8. So basically, every time I put this 1 point into it, it's going up a little bit higher. Yep, it's going to go up to 9. The cold damage increases. Their fire resistance goes down. There's something I forgot to even mention, that using this ability makes enemies weak to fire. So remember I was saying I was using the axe because I was getting that nice cold boost, cold damage, and a boost to cold damage. But if I really want to be efficient, I'd equip this ranged weapon, this gun, because it has fire damage and additional fire damage, plus can fire a fireball. And if I really wanted to boost it, once I reach level 7, I can put a searing ember into it, which will even further affect its fire damage. Thereby, I do a flash freeze, and then fire off my gun. I just boosted its damage, directly boosted its damage. Yeah, I'm going to go back real quick and sell stuff off. I wasn't completely full, but better get it taken care of. Oh, that's right. I almost forgot to get that from that guy. I still don't know what that is. I know I said I was going to look that up, and I apologize. I haven't. Oops. I want to buy... Nope, I don't want to buy any of that back. Excuse me again. Sorry about that. My throat is protesting all this activity. And I swear to God, if somebody cuts that and makes some kind of meme out of me saying that about my throats, and it's that, yeah, that's not funny. Not nice. Don't do it, please. Don't pick on the sick guy. Pick on me when I'm healthy and not a problem. All right, I'm gonna go this way. Now, I just boosted my flash freeze, so especially these bugs. Oh, this should be gorgeous on these bugs. Let me see if I can get a nice... Come here, all you bugs. Whoosh! Most of them were dead, and the one only took a single shot. And now this ranged weapon is actually kind of cool. It fires off... It fires off a blast, which is basically a small fireball, and then every time I shoot it, or every time I do damage, it has the ability to fire off another fireball, which is the fireball itself. And the sword I was using can fire off lightning, and then the axe I was using can fire... Oh, hello. Flash freeze! And then and that flash freeze causes damage over time, which... ticked and killed everybody off. So that's why that flash freeze is really nice. And it's not even at least to the level that I normally like to have it before I move on to another attack ability or damage ability. Just wait, it gets better. Flash freeze, they die from the dive. Now I've got a lot. I'm gonna run around a second, get my flash freeze back. That's back. Boom, hit it. Kill that guy from ranged. Now, you see some of the problems with this build right now, because that ability isn't buffed up enough to take the mobs out one shot or enough range to catch them all in the blast, and that my weapon isn't doing enough damage to kill the mobs quickly. I can get into trouble if I'm not careful. So, you know, basically what a squishy caster normally does. Run around in circles until my abilities come back and I can kill the mobs with magic. ARPG gold, and at its finest. Alright, so my primary first rift is up here at Burial Hill. This is where I needed to go for the quest anyways. Now, before I go down, I want to clear this upper map area with all the mobs that I can. And I'm going to be running around and collecting as many mobs as I can handle, getting them into a nice tight area, and flash freezing. Because most of them will die from the first tick from the flash freeze. And I'm getting a lot of damage quickly, but only using a single skill. And I want to try to get all those mobs in the same area. Because I don't want to use it for one or two mobs, because now I have to wait before that big attack ability's available again. Keep clicking it until it's available. Click. I'm gonna go up here and see if I can get a few more mobs. That's more than enough. Get them around me. Smack. That's nice when I can do that. That's kind of cool. Are there boots? I'll be back in a second. Gotta blow my nose again. Okay, sorry about that. It just took a second to get my throat clear. I've got about another 15 minutes in my, I think it's going to be just about an hour. I'll try to do the full hour at least. Before I forget, I did level up again. So I'm going to go ahead and put actually undo those. Put 2 points in there. I'm going to save that 1 point. I want to go check and see. I'm going to go see how this ability does now. I want to wait for the mobs to get up. Get around. Almost. I mean, I want to eventually get to the point where it's just casting that is enough to kill the undead. But oh, okay, the range was much better there. I think I'm happy with it right now. Though I'm still getting my butt kicked. Whoa. That's what I was saying. I gotta be careful. Because there's a timer on that ability, and I don't have another ability to fall back on. At least not yet. But I think that's plenty strong enough for that. So I'm going to add a point to my base. Because now what I'm working up toward is the Trojan Sky Shards. Because the Flash Freeze is how I'll start a room. Trojan Sky Shards is what I'll use to take care of anything that didn't already die from the Flash Freeze. Then you'll see the combination starting to come into effect. And you'll start seeing what this build's going to become eventually. Now, before I went in there, I made sure that my ability was recharged and ready to go immediately. I think killing this boss will probably open up my Sky Shards. Oh, man, I'm getting a good amount of scrap just from the mobs. This is nice. I mean, there are times when I don't get any scrap and I only get like 2 or 3 from the trash piles out in the areas. And it's kind of hard to get the 5 that you need for that one quest. So it's nice if I can get it all in one area. See, that right there was beautiful. I run around, kind of keep the boss from hitting me until they get some more mobs up, and I hit the boss with it again. So this is it's going to be a longer fight because I really can't do too much damage to the boss. But every time my ability's up, I'll go ahead and hit him with it. It makes him more susceptible to my fire damage. So if I cast this, and I get lucky, oh, I did right there, and I get a fireball to cast from my weapon. If that happens, then the fireball is doing extra damage. So that's really nice too. And I can control the field. I can stop them from attacking me, and I do a ton of damage to them, and it stops the boss in its tracks for a second. Boom, there we go. One more round of that. There we go. That worked out well. Alright, let me check the gear real quick, see if there's anything that's worth it. Poison, attack speed. Attack speed would be nice. I'm going to save that gem for a little better ring. I don't have anything that I really want to put it in right now, I don't think. Nah, because I'll be getting much better gear here in just a few minutes. Take the recharge, but I didn't level. Oh, no, not even close. Okay, I thought he would have leveled me just taking him out, but okay. Darn. Now I'm going to concentrate on the 2 crystals. Oh, that was close. Oh man. That hasn't happened in a while. I'm gonna get
Dead
the
attacks of
experience
slow
here real
creature
quick before I
I
go
need
back.
some time to plan our strategy. I need time. I need some
That wasn't
time
fair.
to plan our strategy.
I'm weak. I'm seeing double. I can't see the screen anymore. I know, excuses. Own up to it, dude. You died. I'll run back in and get my experience back and finish that area real quick. I almost said get my body back, but different game, different genre. Now, I was hoping to have my sky shards by the time I got over there, so I'm going to stay up here and take him out from ranged. I don't know if it was a crit that got me or what, but I went down quick, or I just wasn't paying attention. Sorry about that. What am I saying? You guys are like, "Oh yes, he died." Ha 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 ha. A whole 2 experience back. Thank you. Offer up. I had health potions too. I just didn't see my health dropping that quickly. Now, the devotion points, for this build, it's going to be pretty simple to start off with. I'm going to go for the blue one right here so that I can get into Tsunami immediately, because that's cold and lightning damage. I'm going to be basically cold and lightning. And I'm going to go all the way around until I get to Tsunami. And then Tsunami is going to be on probably my Sky Shards, or I think my Flash Freeze, because it'll add more Frostburn damage over 2 seconds. So it'll buff Flash Freeze's attack style. And then there's some build ideas that go along with that. Which skill you put on what ability. I'll get into that kind of stuff much later, because I'm not even very proficient in that. I've got superficial knowledge on that kind of stuff. But hey, we can learn it together, right? Concentrating on the crystal. Oh, fire weapon on a fire guy. Not too smart. Alright. Come on. For some reason, I didn't want to cast. Oh, jeez. You see how weak this weapon is. But how powerful my spell is. Alright, run over here. Flash freeze almost everything. Part of the problem right now is because I'm using a ranged weapon. I'm trying to run around, and every time my cursor touches a mob, my tune will stop and fire the weapon, which is distracting, and also cause me the problem that I don't want to stop there because I don't want to get hit. So, if there's nothing right out here, I'm probably going to go ahead and switch. There's stuff out here. But that'll be dead in a sec. Here we go. At this point, I'm going to switch to any melee weapon I have, because that's just getting annoying. Free experience. Because they will all die from a single cast of that. Unfortunately, there's no... I was hoping that the hole was open over here, but it's not. This is just some more free experience, because they're going to die from that single attack. Come around the corner and do the same thing. And that's basically the first area. I didn't level again, did I? Nope. I was hoping to get the sky shards tonight. But I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. I spent too much time talking and not actually playing. I apologize. I'll try to do better next time. Let me go to at least get into the town. If you guys have been watching me, you've seen these quest givers and their info.
What's left of my wares.
Yeah, I'll just use you as a sell point real quick. Not my damage type. Get rid of the grace. Not so useful at this point. Really didn't like what that weapon was doing for me. But I did level. So let me do that first. Haha, sky shards. Now I originally kept that 1 point. I wanted that not for sky shards though, because I wanted to get, I don't know if I want the mirror right now, which would have helped earlier, but I think what I want to do is the elemental exchange. It must be toggled to maintain effect, and the advantage conversion only applies to the caster. Now if I take this modifier, it'll apply to my pets if I have a pet, which I don't. I thought about doing it, but I'm going to go ahead and take inner focus because it's going to give me some more offense and some more spirit. And that's just something I have to buff up high because that's, you know, I'm all about spirit and I want the offense to be able to kill the mobs as fast as possible. Next time I'll put at least 1 point in the elemental exchange. It'll buff my weapon, but it'll buff my damage, and I'll energy leech, which I'll get mana back and be able to attack more often. And any physical damage that I might be doing will be converted into elemental damage, and it'll increase my energy regeneration. I almost thought about taking it now, but now I'll think I'll stay with what I've got. I've got all the scrap I need. That's nice. I usually don't get that kind of scrap in the beginning, so. Go ahead and shift click. I love games that have shift click. I think all games should have shift click. Take the mana that was over here, complete these components. Now I've got all these components to put into my gear, but I'm gonna wait until I have some better gear to do so.
I'll hold on to that for you.
Didn't mind wasting that one, but I don't want to waste all those.
Greetings, child. My knowledge, I'm afraid, troubled my knowledge
I
of
like this actor's voice. I don't know who she is, but I like her voice. Don't want to miss this book over here. It's free experience. Plus, it's lore. And this game has got, if you want to read through it, this game has got a good amount of lore in it. Let's go to the vendor. He probably isn't going to have anything that I want to spend my money on.
Give you a good price.
But he's at least worth talking to. Checking it out. A ring right now might be a good. Let's see what kind of rings he might have. No. Cold damage. I'm not going to spend that. Nah. I don't think he's going to have anything that I want to spend points on right now. 1, 2. So I got that 5 spirit I was talking about. Now I'm going to save that other point. Almost forgot to do that. I'm sure someone was like, hey, you said you were going to do this. Yeah, I forgot.
Send you over. Search the...
Fortunately, I already picked up the scrap that you wanted.
Well, good news is, since I've cleared this key.
And then I'll go talk to the scientist / mage. And I think he's a mage, dude, but...
Welcome to my workshop. I saw you fighting the dead out in Lower Crossing, and I dare
scientist
say you are
inventor.
absolutely brilliant.
I guess this game really doesn't have
Evidently,
magic.
handing you off that
He's a
noose was
scientist,
the
but
best decision
if
the
he's
captain
opening
made that
portals,
day.
it makes me think mage,
Gates, you
wizard,
don't remember anything.
conjurer,
Did
anything
you
but a
bring back
scientist.
the Aether? Excellent. I have to say.
Free skill point. I'll take that. Always useful. Elemental exchange. Definitely one I'm going to take now. And go ahead and cast it. And now I'm buffed. And if I go near anything that would considered an ally, I'm buffing them as well, which is kind of cool. As long as I'm within range, they get buffed. I really want to keep playing, but my throat is really starting to hurt. I'm going to start coughing more. I'm going to sound even worse than I'm sounding right now. So unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to call it today. I know it's a short stream, but I wanted you guys to know that I'm still here. I'm still doing this. I'm loving it. I'm just sick. Hopefully I'll feel better soon. And I'll start doing these more often. I better be better by the 24th. I've got 3 days to get better because I want to play Wolves when it comes out. Doesn't mean I'm going to stop playing my other games. It's just I definitely want to play that one. So thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed this information. If there's a question you have about Grim Dawn, let me know. If I can't find it, I can point you in the right direction, I'm sure. You have a nice night. Bye.